All right, we're back. For us, it's been a minute since we haven't recorded in a few weeks, but for everyone else, we're picking up right where we left off. But today's going to be a little bit different. We're not doing any sort of structured topic, any deep dive on anything in particular. We're just kind of catching up, hanging out for a bit, especially because I've been traveling for a bit. We haven't had time to catch up and chat. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and we just want to take a minute to slow down, chat, bring you guys into what's going on behind the scenes in our lives right now. So if you're someone who's into that and wants to hear more about what we're working on, thinking through, navigating, this episode's gonna be for you.
Yeah, we joke around a lot how like we'll have these like conversations before we actually go on air, and then we're like, wait a minute, this should be part of the podcast.
I know.
So
I swear, every week we do that. We just gotta get in the habit of just hitting record and just going with it.
I know. Yeah, you're right. Sometimes we're like, okay, we get all ready for it, and we're like, let's just hit record and let's just talk and have a good conversation, and that's what people want anyway, right?
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. I've always said like one of the things I love about podcasts in general is like, the ones that do a really good job of it. I feel like I'm sitting at a coffee shop and having a conversation with these people. And so hopefully our audience feels the same type of way, but that's kind of the vibe and the energy that I want to have in ours as well. So, but it's the connection between us and our clients and our audience, and that's the fun part. So I think this will be interesting. I think it'll be enjoyable, and I think it'll be a fun podcast, fun episode.
I agree. And you are the birthday boy after all. Let the people know what's going on.
Oh, that is true. I am the young age of 48 now. To me, it's like, there's really, even like when I turned 21, like I think I remember like going, I think we went to like, I think we played pool that night. I think I went with some friends, and I didn't even tell anyone I was like turning 21. And I went in and, they scanned my card, and the bouncer was like, "Oh, happy birthday." And my friend's like, "You're 21? Dude, you didn't even tell us about it." I was like, "I don't care, man." I was like, it's just another day, another year, Maybe like when I hit 100, I'll probably make a big deal about that.
Valid.
That might be a good reason.
Yeah, 21 though is crazy. I feel like that's always one that people are looking forward to, like hyping up. You're going out on midnight. That's crazy that even then you're just like, whatever.
I know. It didn't really matter to me. It wasn't, I wasn't a huge drinker anyway. So it was just like, whatever. It wasn't a big deal. So whatever. But it was a good day. It was a good year. I enjoyed it and looking forward to 48. I'm excited for what it's going to bring. And so, it's going to be a lot of fun, but it's just another year. I'm excited to see what happens.
I mean, I feel you on that. I always have the same outlook on my birthdays too, but I feel like then everyone else wants to celebrate more for you. Even me, I'm like, let's go, like, let's party. It's your birthday. Do you do any sort of reflection or journaling or anything along those lines on your birthday, or is it still just like, it's another day. It is what it is.
I really don't. Like, I don't even, it's funny, I want to have a nice day. I want it to be nice and relaxed, but I don't love like a lot of attention, so it's like, if people don't tell me happy birthday, I'm actually kind of cool with it. Every now and then someone does mention it, or then great. I love to hear that. But in general, it's like, hey, I just want a nice day, a nice relaxing day. Do the things that I want to do. Doesn't have to be anything special, and just enjoy my day. And I don't really do a whole lot of reflection or anything. It's just, I know this sounds weird to most people, but it truly is just kind of another day, and I just enjoy it and move on. I always like the Astros to win. That's always fun when they win. So, it's just another day for me.
That's fair. Well, what did you do to relax and unwind and chill on your birthday?
Well, I had class, so I'd love for my kids to be fantastic that day. But and then I got a great workout in. So that was I love to have just a nice, long, relaxing workout. I had a dance meeting. So surprise there, right? So I had to do that. And then I just came home and I had breakfast for dinner. It's, a lot of people are like, "Oh, do you want to have something else? Do you want to have something different?" And I'm like, no, I love breakfast for dinner. So I wanted to make, breakfast for dinner. And I had that, and I had an old teammate that I used to work with. She was actually my first teammate, and she's retired, but she's super sweet. She always makes me a cake or makes me something on my birthday. And so she made me this delicious cookie cake. So we enjoyed that. Opened some gifts, and the Astros did play, and they did win, and so everyone was super nice to me, and it was fun. I mean, I just had a nice, relaxing day. So I truly enjoyed my day.
Love that. No, that's good. It sounds productive yet peaceful, restorative.
Yeah, there you go. That's probably a good way to put it. Just kind of peaceful, restorative, and of course, I'm always thankful. God's blessed me in so many different ways, and so that's probably you're talking about reflection. That's probably the biggest thing I do. And I prayed yesterday and talked to him, and I was just like, man, I'm just so thankful for just all the people you've put in my life, and all the opportunities and the experience that I've had, and just feel truly blessed. So I guess I did have some reflection. It wasn't like super detailed, but just in general, like I do feel very blessed in life, and so I did pray about that and did thank him for that. So
I love that. And so I guess going into 48, I feel like that's when you typically hear a lot of people oh, it's going downhill, like aches and pains. But I feel like you are the absolute opposite of that. So like, what's your mentality on that, and just how you're approaching life as you get older? Because I feel like it's vastly different than the majority of people and how they're viewing their life and age.
yeah, actually, I feel like I'm the opposite. I feel like the older I get, like I'm super excited to turn 50. And so I know most people are not, and I think every year that I just add on to it, I just get more excited, just because I'm optimistic about the outlook of life, but I feel so good, and I work so hard to take care of myself, and my goal is to live a long, and I joked about 100, but I'm not really joking. Like, my plan is to live past 100, and not just like where I'm in a hospital bed and just suffering for years. Like, I want it to be great quality, but I want to live as long as I can, and so I work hard, and I take care of my body to the point to where, I'm excited to see what I can do when I'm 50 and 70 and 80 and 90. I want to be the people where, there's a guy at the gym who's like, I think he's like 93 or 94 now. And he comes in and he works out like 3 times with the trainer, and he is just on top of stuff, and he's lifting heavier than half the people in the gym, and he's happy. And I mean, I'm like, there we go. That's exactly the type of place I want to be at that age. So, yeah, I get excited. The older I get, the more excited I get about it.
What a legend. That guy sounds awesome. Like, I feel like I always love seeing those people like that when they're like in their later years of life, just in the gym, crushing it, so consistent with everything, look amazing. So yeah, I mean, I think that's such a cool and powerful perspective too, just from you and how you're approaching stuff, and looking forward to that. And that's what happens when you take care of yourself and your health. Like, it doesn't have to all go downhill as you get older. So you're the testament to that. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I feel really bad. There's a lot of people. We have a lot of older population at my gym, and I was holding the door for this lady, and she was walking really slowly, and I was like, "Take your time, no worries, whatever." And she was like, it just stinks getting old, and I hear that a lot, and I feel so bad, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I don't think it's just an automatic guarantee that's how it's going to be. It just kind of depends on how you've taken care of yourself and the things that's happened throughout your life. So I think I want to get to the point where I'm walking in at 95 and high-fiving the guy holding the door for me, and I'm like, yes, I turned 95 today, big guy, type of thing. So
I love it. I know it's going to happen. I can see it already.
that's the goal. That's the goal.
Speaking of health, I know you're in the middle of a cut right now. How that's been going?
Yeah, so okay. So I have actually a really funny story with this thing. So, I guess I was kind of just at a place where I wasn't really tracking my food, and I have an idea of what I mean, but also was totally cool with eating half a bag of chips, or having a whole pizza every other weekend and stuff like that, and I felt good. Look, it was fine, big deal, but definitely wasn't where my ideal body or where I'd love to be. And starting to get warmer, I was like, all right, let's play around with some things, and I was probably going for like a 300 to 500 calorie cut, and that's kind of what I was looking at, and I was seeing some results really fast, really quickly. And I was like, man, like, I am leaning out really well. I was really excited and really proud of it, and I just, every now and then I look at it, I was like, gosh, this is happening a lot quickly than so I was kind of going through my macros the other day, and I looked at one of my days, and So during school, a lot of times I'll have like a protein bar just because it's just so convenient and easy. I can still teach and eat it, and it's not a big deal. And I noticed I had 2 recorded for that day. And I was like, well, I know I didn't eat 2 that day. And I started thinking, I was like, wait a minute. And I was like, I did have 2 like a couple months ago. And I put it in there. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just carry on. Like if I'm having the same thing the next day, I'll just click the same option and push it. Well, I just assumed it was calculating 1 every time because that's what I had been doing for a while. And I started going back day by day, and I realized I was eating 1, but I was calculating 2. So I was actually more in like a 700 calorie cut every day. And I was like, well, no wonder, man. I'm like extreme cutting here. And the thing was, like, I've been feeling great. Like, it wasn't like I was dying of, hunger or anything like that. I was like, man, I guess I just found like a really sweet spot on accident. And yeah, I've been super excited about the results. This kid totally made my day the other day. I was walking in a neighborhood after my workout, and the sun was out, and I love walking without my shirt on. It's kind of like, double get my steps in plus get a nice little tan. And I was walking these, 2 little kids, 12-year-olds, where they're playing hoop or something, and one of them yells out, "Nice abs, dude." And I was like, oh man. I was like, I gave him a little peace sign or whatever, and I was like, you don't realize like how amazing that makes me feel right now. I have 12-year-old yelling out at this 40, almost 50-year-old guy, nice abs. So that was pretty sweet.
So it's safe to say the cut is going well, even if it's a little bit accidental.
Yeah, it was accidental, but it's a great accident. It was a great accident.
That's awesome. Have you been, aside from tracking and being in that deficit, have you tweaked anything else as far as training or any other protocols that you're doing for this cut?
Yeah, and I decided to track volume really carefully. And I've never done it before. When I was younger, I would track what I was working out just to make sure I was getting stronger and to see what I did the week before. But it was just real, loose type of thing. It was like, all right, I want to try to get to this weight or whatever. And so this time I've been very intentional about increasing volume. And not necessarily, I thought this was really cool too. I wanted to experiment with it because a lot of times, even in my own mind, when I think about increasing volume, I think about increasing the weight, right? And sometimes it's really hard, especially the stronger you get, to increase weight. And so that can be the challenge. And then as older I get, sometimes that risk versus reward type of thing, do I really want to be lifting this weight even if I probably can? Short side note, one time when I was in college, not the brightest thing in the world, but we were lifting and, there was I think there was 4 of us, all young, strong kids, probably like 19 or 20 years old, something like that. And we were doing dips off the bench, but we were loading plates onto our hips. And there was 4 of us. So one would do the workout and the other 3 would pop on the weights real quick and then hop them off. And I can't remember what we had. I think we had start off by a couple of 45s, 3 45s, 4 45s. And it was either 5 or 6. And we were like, ooh, that's a lot, man. And I was like, I'll go. I was like, there's 3 of you to take it off really quickly if I can't do it. That was the only thing in my mind. If I can't do it, I can't do it. Whatever, no big deal. And I started doing the dip. And all of a sudden, maybe like 3rd or 4th rep, I just hear this huge, loud, clap, snap type thing. And I was like, all right, get the weights off. And they rip them off real quick because it was super loud. And they just stared at me. And I just sat there. I was like, oh, there's something wrong with my chest. I need to go to the doctor real quick. And so I went down to the old university doctor or whatever. And they didn't even really do much. He was like, he goes, you probably, I don't know if you tore it, but you probably stretched the ligament. And it was one of the most painful things I've ever experienced it. And I didn't tear it, but I definitely did something to it, like you said, probably stretched it. And I mean, I probably couldn't do, anything chest related for like half a year. And the funniest thing is I couldn't do, it took me a year until I could do pull-ups again without any pain.
Wow.
And so that's always kind of in the back of my mind of risk versus reward. Could I do it? Yeah, I was actually lifting that weight. But in terms of, was it just too much for my body to handle in general? Yes, it was. And so I learned from that. And so getting back to what I'm saying, so I wanted to kind of experiment with not necessarily increasing the weight, but trying to increase volume. And so what I've been doing is every single set, I try to go increase 1 rep the next workout. And then the next workout out there, try to increase 1 more rep. And I have kind of like a rep range. And then if I get to that top of the rep range, then I increase the weight. But it takes a little bit while, especially if I'm a little bit under the rep range that I want to be. But every time, and I've realized that I probably was not pushing myself as much as I could have before. I was pushing myself. It was a nice, good workout, but like really pushing myself to a really super intentional. And so for the last few, and I've only been doing this for maybe like 3 weeks, but I've really pushed, within each workout, or it depends on the exercise, but each workout, maybe like an extra 1,000 pounds or something like that, of volume. And I just keep adding up. And so I'm in this really nice cut, but I'm increasing my volume and getting stronger. So it's been really fun to kind of play with. And I put it into ChatGPT, and it said something like I've lifted like 4 elephants this past week or something like that, which it's kind of silly, but it's fun to think about that kind of stuff. But yeah, but again, it's kind of just being super intentional, and also because I feel like, and I've had this conversation with a lot of my clients as well. A lot of times we always think of we have to increase weight, right? Kind of think of that progressive overload type thing. Increase the weight. You got to get stronger. But you can increase sets and reps as well without increasing the weight, and you're increasing your volume. And so just something simple as adding an extra rep. And then also, it was pretty interesting the other day is I was performing some rows, and I decided to increase the weight this time, and I went up considerably 10, 20 pounds, whatever, and my reps came back pretty far just because it was a lot heavier. And I was like, oh yeah, I crushed the volume on this one. And I actually had a little bit less volume the week before because I had so many more reps, and it wasn't enough of a weight improvement to make up for that difference. And so again, really interesting to kind of look at how there's just a lot of variables involved in the workout, and it's not always just necessarily one thing that you can kind of play with and experiment with and improve and change that can make that workout better.
Yeah, we always talk about progressive overload, but yeah, it isn't just the weight. There's so many different metrics that you can look at. So it's cool that you're playing around with that. And especially, it's such a good feeling when you're in a deficit, you're in a cut, and you're still seeing those certain things, still seeing the progress come up. So that just shows you're in such a sweet spot with everything.
Yeah, I think I'm in a really sweet spot now. So I'm pretty excited, especially with summer coming out, and I'm in a good place. So I'm in a good place.
Jacked and shredded.
There you go.
And tan.
Yeah, I'll include that too.
So how long are you going to continue on with this cut, do you think?
I don't know. It's tough because like you know how it is. You feel really good and you look really good, and you're like, how long can I keep this going?
Right. That's fair.
So I don't have like a time frame. I'm just going to kind of go if I feel energy dropping or anything like that, or I feel like I'm getting kind of in a plateau, then I'll probably reverse out of it and try to bulk up a little bit, and then just kind of go back into cut later. But we'll see. We'll just kind of play around and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm just filling it out. I'm kind of in the same boat there. I actually just got my in-body scan too, right after vacation, and we are still dialed in. I was surprised with that one. I was not expecting it to be good, especially after vacation and everything. I was eating a little crazy, not working out or anything, but my body fat dropped below 20% finally, so we're in the 19% range. I still want to keep going and keep cutting a little bit too. But
awesome.
My muscle mass went up still, so we're dialed.
Yeah, and that's the key, right? It's not just losing body fat, but you're improving or you're increasing the muscle mass and losing body fat, and that feels really good, right? Mm-hmm. All right, so you just got back. We were joking around the other day, like I felt like you were gone forever, right? And so you just got back from Egypt, so we want to hear all about it.
It does feel like it has been an eternity. And for me, it makes sense, though, because it was just such a jam-packed trip, going nonstop, like 12-hour days of exploring and adventuring. But it's funny that you said that, too, and my coaches said that, and my friends said that. So it's just funny that everyone thought it was gone forever.
Well, you had mentioned that when you came back from the trip, that's what we were referring to, that you're like dialed in still and everything is, so when you go on a trip like this, I mean, you say you kind of let go, right? You weren't, but it's not like you're just eating whatever you want and you're sitting around on the couch and doing nothing, right?
Yeah. I will say on this one, I definitely went a little crazier than I normally would, food wise at least. Like training wise, I didn't really have much of a chance to work out. I got a couple workouts in. They were more, it was a deload for me anyway. So I just went in and just got some movement in, a lot of mobility just because I was feeling super tight. So just movement felt really good, but didn't have a lot of time just because we were going so much and didn't have access to gyms and whatnot. So I got a couple workouts in. Steps were surprisingly lower than I thought. Like I was barely getting 10K on some days. So a lot less than my normal baseline. So I wasn't doing a ton of activity. And then food wise, that's where I went a little bit crazier than normal. Food there was freaking good, like really good stuff. Still prioritized a lot of protein. So like in all my meals, I was just getting a shit ton of protein. Even at like the buffets at the hotel and stuff, just a lot of protein, a lot of rice, veggies. So still eating a lot of good quality stuff. I'd just say I was eating a lot more quantity and I was allowing myself to have like, they had all sorts of like pastries and treats and stuff. And our tour director was giving us treats after every stop. So I was just like eating all of that, just letting myself enjoy it without stressing. So that's when I say I got a little bit crazy. And I feel like some of the days we had like, so, I swear, like full Egyptian feast, man. Like I swear, they just kept bringing out more food, like more appetizers, more dishes, like desserts. Like there's so much stuff for every meal. So I went ham like that. I feel like there's one day I had like at least like 6,000 calories. And I was like, oh man.
So give us an example. What would be like an Egyptian feast? Like I'm thinking like a lot of protein options, right? Like a lot of gaming
Yeah,
stuff, or
decent amount of protein. But yeah, like they'd start with a soup. They brought out like again, I don't even know like the names for all this stuff. So it's just like almost like these like pitas with like some dip and veggies, and then they had like this other salad, and then they brought out like the main dish, which is like the meat and rice, and then there was like the more like there's I forget there's like other stuff that they brought out too, and then like dessert. Yeah, so there's like all sorts of courses, all sorts of appetizers and stuff, and just kept throwing stuff at you. And then yeah, at all the buffets, there's just like a lot of meat, which I was going ham on, which was really nice and delicious.
well, that's a good example too of it really doesn't matter where you're eating. And a lot of our clients or a lot of people will talk about it's so hard, it's so challenging. It is when you go out to eat or when you're traveling a lot. But if you just break it down to, okay, I'm going to center my meal around protein, and then I'm going to have fruits and vegetables, regardless of, what country you're in or how it's prepared or anything like that. And then I'll enjoy some of the fun things on the outside after I've eaten that. You can still stay pretty locked in and still have great results.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's what we always preach is it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You don't have to be miserable on your trips. You don't have to be stressing about everything. I did not stress about a single thing. I just let myself eat whatever I wanted. I didn't even put anything into my fitness pal. And I think it's funny too. A lot of the girls that I was on this tour with, so for context, I went solo, but I did a group tour. So they have like everything planned. It just helps like with the safety aspect. And I don't want to have to deal with and plan anything. So I'm just like, all right, they got it all covered. I'm just going to go and show up, which is cool. And it's actually cool. Like I was able to meet a lot of cool people. The people on this one were a lot better, and I was able to connect more compared to when I went to Greece with the same company. I think because Greece is more of like a party vibe, and so everyone was like trying to rage, and I was like, nah, I'm good. But this one was way better. So like everyone was super cool. Had fun meeting everyone, hanging out with people. Like my roommate was super cool. Like runs her real estate business, so it was really cool being able to connect with those type of people, and it also forces me out of my comfort zone a little bit too. Of it just like having to connect with everyone and like showing up. I was like a day late, so I had to like meet and like catch up with everyone. So that part was cool. But a lot of the girls, I think, picked up on like how I was operating and my habits and what I was eating. Also just like how I looked, my confidence, like when we were at the beach and stuff. Because I actually had three of them reach out to me and inquire about coaching, which is funny.
There we go. There we go.
No, but like the funny thing is I never push that kind of stuff because people always ask me, like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, oh yeah, I run a fitness coaching business, all this stuff. And anytime I go anywhere, meet anyone, and I say that, the answer is always the same. They're like, oh yeah, I could use a coach. Like I should hire you every time. I don't know if you get that too when you tell people that.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely get some kind of response like that a lot of times. Oh, I could definitely hire you. I should use you, or I should talk to you later about it, or whatever.
Yeah. And I've learned that 99% of the time, bullshit. Like in the beginning, I used to like get excited. I'm like, yo, yeah, like let me help. Like I'm trying to like give them advice and whatnot. But they don't actually mean it. They're not actually committed. Like people just say that just because they hear it and like, yeah, sure, it sounds good to get in shape. So I've learned just to not even try anymore. And so like I literally just disregard it. I don't like tell people a lot of details of stuff. I don't try to push anything. And so it's just funny that they came back and like actually like started inquiring. Like they were actually like asking me about it. Like how do you run it? Like what does that cost? Like what does it look like? I'm like, oh, like you're interested? Like, wait, are you actually serious? So I thought that was kind of cool, and I think it just goes to show because like I was in there, I was like eating so much food compared to them too. Especially, like, I feel like they were eating very little portions. It seemed like a lot of them were like just kind of like hesitant around stuff, and you could just tell like the relationship with food just wasn't like where they wanted it to be. So I think it was cool to kind of set that example, like lead by example in a sense, and be able to kind of help guide them through that. And so there's a few of them that I'm talking to and hopefully help a little bit. So I just thought that was interesting, that people picked up on that and like wanted something to do with it just because I'm not used to that. I'm used to people not being like, not even like caring about that kind of stuff or just even just gonna give me shit like, oh, like you're gonna eat, like have some fun, live a little, that type of thing. So it's just an interesting dynamic.
Well, and we've had an episode where we talked about this, encouraging people you love or people you know. And I think, being the example is one of the things that we talked about. I think if you would have gone onto the trip and be like, hey, all you guys should be doing it this way, and, you should join my team, all this stuff, they would have been totally turned off and not want to do it, But if you just kind of lead by example, then they're curious, like, well, what is she doing? How is she feeling this way? How is she enjoying this way? And so they want to find out more information about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's even funnier too because like I went into my time like I don't even care, like I'm not even trying to push it, like even when they asked about coaching I'm like, oh, it's nothing, like I'm not even gonna give them details on it until like they started pushing it more. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I also noticed like the toll that it took on my body of not exercising and being stuck on planes and buses and everything. Like it was rough. My hips were so tight. I was just like, my energy was way lower just not having that movement. And even just a couple days where I was able to get in the gym and just do some mobility and move, it just night and day difference. I felt on top of the world after that. So it's just crazy to think. I don't know, like I just could not imagine living my life like sedentary anymore and just going through like sitting all day doing that kind of stuff is just brutal.
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be more relaxing and easier to just kind of lounge around. But I'm the same way. Like if I have to long car ride or something like that, I would rather be walking the entire 8 hours than to be sitting in a car for 8 hours. My back starts getting tight, and I have to constantly move around and just your body is made to be active. It just feels so much better when you are.
Oh yeah, 100%. Especially after like long ass travel day too. I feel like at least on the way home, I had a shit show of a time with the flights though. Not gonna lie.
Oh gosh, share. Tell us what happened. You said you got
My
there
first,
late?
yeah, my first one got canceled. Like I was about to head to the airport and they sent me an email and said, yeah, your flight got canceled. And then they rebooked it for the next day. So I was like panicking, like, no, I'm going to miss my tour because they have everything set. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like, so I was going in a day late. It actually ended up working out really well. Luckily, I didn't miss anything major. It's just museums, which honestly doesn't really resonate much with me. It doesn't do a whole lot for me mentally. I feel like it goes in one ear out the other. So I
Yeah.
didn't miss a whole lot out of it, which I'm very grateful for. And so we made it. I was a day late, but we made it. So like that was the first chaos. And then on the way home, so it's already like a 10-hour flight, or I had basically one 4-hour flight, one 1-hour flight, and then one 10-hour flight. And luckily the first two went fine. And then on my last 10-hour flight from Germany to back to Tampa, we got on the plane. I'm like, all's good. Phew, we avoided all the travel issues. And then we were stuck on the plane for 3.5 hours before
Oh my
we got
gosh.
off.
That is the worst.
Yeah, I feel like just worse because I knew there's like I have to be there for 10 hours and like just sitting there for 3 hours. And luckily I had a whole row to myself. I was like laying down, trying to move around, like standing up. I was just like so antsy.
Yeah, I can't stand when they put you on the plane and you just sit there and you don't do anything. It's like, hey, you know what? If you knew this was going to happen, or just take us, let me walk around the airport or something,
Hmm. Yeah, so that was rough. So yeah, it was like a full 24-hour day of travel and I was up for
Wow.
like 48 without sleeping. So coming back was a little bit rough, but we made it.
Wow. So do you feel like you're like back in the routine, you're back to normal life, or are you still kind of recovering a little bit?
No, we're back. I'm still feeling a little sleep deprived, but that's just because it's been busy getting back here. But no, I definitely feel like I'm back. As soon as I got home, I was so ready. I was so excited to be back. Definitely the last day of the tour, I feel like I finally hit that wall. I was like, I just want to be home, man. Like I'm done. I'm over it. Take me back home, especially that last travel day. So yeah, it does feel really good to be back in the normal routine. I was kind of before this trip, I was taking my like semi work break sorta, but I'm definitely off of that. So just back in full force, taking calls, doing all the work,
We're
everything.
back.
So we're back, baby. Yeah. No, it feels really good. Like I am excited to be back. It was a good break, much needed. But yeah, I'm definitely ready to be back in the routine, just with everything: volleyball, training, work, all the things.
Well, we're all glad you're back, and we're excited that you're fully back. Like you're back into Mackenzie mode and ready to just crush everything, right?
Yeah, I feel like it was a interesting dynamic too, because I actually did a good job of not really working on this trip. I did like some basic stuff, answered clients and whatnot, but like for the majority of the time, I was basically unplugged and not working, which very unusual, very tough for me to do. But I feel like I handled it pretty well. But I definitely had a lot of moments in there where like those doubts would creep in, or I'd be like, oh, I feel like I'm not doing enough, or I'm letting my team down, or like I'm gonna like lose progress or fall off. Like, those thoughts would start to creep in. And so I'd have to just continue to check myself and be like, no, 1 week isn't going to mess anything up. This goes for two, like when you're eating or missing gym workouts. I tell this to clients all the time, like 1 day, 1 week is not going to do anything in the grand scheme of things. So I just kept reminding myself of that and just be like, no, like be present, be here. How many other times in your life are you going to be in Egypt? Like just be present, enjoy it. And so I feel like I did a good job of like catching myself on those and kind of resetting and making sure that I'm just being present, enjoying, like my intention was to enjoy the trip and not worry about anything else. And so I feel like I did a decent job of that, even though I didn't do my speech stuff, which is the only thing I was like beating myself up a little bit more about. But we're okay. We're gonna make it.
You'll make it. You'll make it. I think, I think that happens more so for people who are really consistent and have a really great routine, even if they're not in a big health journey, even if it's with work or whatever it may be, and they get so locked into doing, to this is who I am every single day, and I'm show up and I do everything I'm supposed to do, and then they take a vacation or there's some kind of layoff or something like that, and they like you said, they kind of feel uneasy because this is not my routine, this is. I'm feeling like I'm not consistently doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And in reality, it's probably great for you,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, it's exactly what I needed for sure. And it's funny because everyone was, I knew you were asking me before, my friends were asking me before, like, oh, are you excited for Egypt? And I'm like, no. Like, no, I'm stressed. Just the idea of it stresses me out, and like getting off my routine it's very challenging for me to take that time, especially just because like I am so disciplined and consistent and locked in, and I love that. I love that lifestyle. So it is tough for me to like, put everything on pause and get out of my routine, but I am really glad that I did. And even coming back as soon like a few days in, I was even like starting to look at the next one I'm going to book. I'm like, okay, this is a good reminder of why I'm doing this. I've talked about before, my main intention last year and coming into this year was just relationships and experiences. And this is a big one that falls under the experience category. And so that's why I booked it in the first place. I'm like, hey, I just need to get something on the calendar. So I just forced myself to book it. And I'm glad I did. And so now I'm going to do that again. I decide I'm going to do another one this year and then probably Japan or something next year. So it's just like a good reminder of why I do this, why it's important to go out and travel and get off routine and have these experiences, see the world. And so I feel it's very eye opening and gave me a lot of clarity on that and what I'm doing with these goals and prioritizing the experiences. So I feel like that was really cool and got good clarity around that.
Yeah, I mean, I love experiences in life, and to me, I think they should be top priority. I think people should have these experiences, especially if they have the opportunities to take them. But kind of like you said too, I think it's a great challenge, especially like for people like you, where they're very routine, very structured. It's a challenge to break free from that structure and that routine for a week and really truly enjoy it and not have to be in that spot where like, okay, I'm supposed to be doing this every single day type of thing. And now, okay, it's different. It's not what I'm used to doing, but I think that's a good challenge for them and for you.
Hmm. Yeah, because what I always tell myself too is yeah, it's great to be in the routine and be consistent with everything, but you're not going to look back on your life and remember all the days when you stayed in and you worked and you hit the gym and did checked all the boxes. Like you're going to look back on these big experiences and the memories that you made with that and the experiences you had. And so that's what I always remind myself when I get stuck in that mentality is like, yeah, I'm not going to remember the days when I stayed in and work. Like I always look back on my Costa Rica trip and all my other trips I've had. And like those are the things that make life worthwhile. And so I'm just continuing to lean into that more. So like I feel like we definitely added a lot of memories to the bank with this trip. It was freaking epic.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, you see, you work hard and you have that routine. You do stay locked in as much as possible, so that you can totally be in the moment and totally appreciate these experiences, and enjoy them for what they're worth, as opposed to worrying about all these other things that someone who's not locked in throughout the year might feel.
Yeah. And I think one thing I've also noticed too that happened kind of recently, but was really tested on this trip was I feel like I'm in a lot like how do I articulate it? It's like a more mental stability or emotional stability almost with just not letting myself get so worked up with every little thing and needing to control every little thing and just like more going with the flow, releasing control and just chilling, being in that chill mindset. I've definitely gotten a lot better at that over the years, but I still would catch myself just like getting worked up over stuff or like I get a bad message or something goes wrong and I get in my head and I start to like, go down that rabbit hole. But now I'm literally just everything, like, anything bad comes up, I'm just like, okay, cool. And I just let it go. And I feel like this has been a very new development over the last few weeks. I don't know like what exactly prompted that, but it feels really good.
Yeah, that's a great place to be at. All right.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it can continue, but like I feel like it was very tested with my flight cancellation. But
Hmm.
even with that, yeah, I was a little bit sad. I'm like, oh, what am I missing out on? But at the same time, no, I can't control it. Like it is what it is. It's happening for a reason. I'm sure it's like some sort of protection from God or like it's happening for a reason. So I'm like, oh, whatever, I'll figure it out. If I get on the next flight, cool. If I don't get on the flight, like whatever, I'll figure something out. So it was just weird with how like chill I was about that, and even just on the way home. I will say I was definitely like starting to lose my shit like on the third hour of sitting on the plane um, before we took off.
Yeah.
But like even then, I was pretty calm up until that point. So it was just interesting being able to see that shift and just even just day to day life. So that's been cool.
Well, yeah, that sounds like it was a phenomenal trip.
Yeah, yeah, did so much. Saw some pyramids, went in the pyramids. The tour guide was trying to convince us it wasn't aliens. I don't know. A little suspicious. She kept bringing that up.
Conspiracy theory, man. I don't know. There's a lot of really accurate conspiracy theories out there now, right?
Yeah. But yeah, saw some pyramids, rode some camels, saw a shit ton of temples, like tombs. Like it was crazy how it was just like so mind blowing. Everything that we went into, my jaw was just on the floor. Just like all the details from all the temples, even the tombs. They're thousands and thousands of years old, and the colors were so vibrant and clear. Saw some mummies. Um, yeah, like had an awesome beach day too. Beach, the water's unreal. We went onto this island in the middle of nowhere. Crazy boat day. So yeah, just did a whole lot. Like it was just so jam packed, and it was amazing. And I love those trips where you're just like going, seeing and doing a bunch of stuff. Um, but yeah, the 10 days was definitely more than enough.
Well, that's awesome. I love to hear that.
But yeah, that was the Egypt trip. And now I'm off to Austin next week, or tomorrow, that is.
Next week, tomorrow, whenever, I'm just gonna hop on a flight.
Right.
Okay, so I know nothing about this trip. Now, obviously, you're flying to God's country. So tell me more about this. Why are you going to Austin?
Yeah, so I have a concert that I'm going to. I'm seeing Rufus, one of my favorite artists, and I haven't seen them live yet, so I'm very excited. I When they went on tour, I was trying to get the tickets to Tampa, and my Ticketmaster account was like glitching and wouldn't let me get in. So I missed like the tickets that I wanted when they went on sale because they sell out so quick. And so I was like, all right, fuck it, like I need to go somewhere else. And so I was looking at all the places they were touring. I'm like, oh, I want to go to Austin, so I booked the tickets for that. So yeah, concert's finally here, so I'm going just for a couple days, mostly to go to the concert, and then I'll just go explore, see what Austin's all about because I haven't been there in particular. So probably have some good barbecue. I think there's like some springs there.
Yeah,
I don't know
Barton,
what else.
yeah,
We'll
Barton
figure it out.
Springs. That's amazing. Yeah. Oh, you got to
Yeah.
get barbecue, and you have to get brisket for sure.
All right. I'm on it. Don't worry.
Yeah, tons of it. Okay, so I've never heard of this Rufus band. All right, so what kind of music we got here?
Yeah, it's I don't know like the exact genre, but it's like more EDM, but very chill, melodic, very chill vibes. But it's cool. It's a good time.
Yeah. Is there anyone that you can compare it to that I might know, or probably not?
Probably not.
All right, I'll have to look it up. I'll have to check it out, see what they're like.
I can send you some songs after. I think they're really good. I feel like I feel like everyone kind of gets along and just likes it, just or even just chill background noise. So yeah, I can send you some songs.
All right, yeah, do it. I'll check it out.
But yeah, those are most of the updates. I feel like it's been a crazy couple weeks.
Yeah, crazy couple weeks, but it sounds like it's been an amazing experience, and you came back better and ready to rock and roll and finish off, or get ready for the
Ready,
summer, I should say, right?
yeah, ready for world domination to resume.
There we go. There we go. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us today, and hopefully we share some things that maybe hit home for you, or maybe you just felt a little bit less alone, or maybe you just connected with whatever we said, related really well. So, of course, we would love to hear from you. Send us a message, tag us, let us know what's going on in your world too. We're curious about what's going on with you guys as well.
Yeah, and we'll be back next week with a normal full episode, but kind of we got a little surprise coming next week. We got a special guest coming on the podcast. I think that's all I'm going to leave it for now, but you're not going to want to miss it. And the best place to connect with us is going to be on our free school community. I'm launching actually the next challenge soon, so you won't want to miss that as well. Pop in there. I'll link that in the show notes and hope everyone crushes their week. We will see you next week.